The prophecy of the Chosen One was one that had divided the opinions of both the Jedi and the Sith over thousands of years, with some claiming that the Chosen One would bring balance, and others stating that it will return to the light. The emergence of the powerful Force-sensitive Anakin Skywalker placed all of those theories at the forefront of their mind, and throughout his ascendancy in the Jedi Order, the Sith realised that they could not let this opportunity pass by them. The secret Dark Lord of the Sith Darth Sidious grew closer to Anakin, shaking his faith in the Jedi Order, as well as their restrictive code that failed to accommodate for a secret marriage to Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. Eventually falling to the dark side of the Force, the Sith's version of balance was established, with the purge on the Jedi turning Anakin into the ultimate Sith weapon of power. But for Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, the fall of the Jedi Order was only one step towards the prophecy being fulfilled, and he was proven correct by Anakin's redemption to the light, helped by his son Luke Skywalker. But what if Anakin Skywalker had never existed? How would this change the approach of the Sith? Would someone else be the protagonist for the prophecy of the Chosen One? As you're going to find out, the absence of Anakin could have shaken the Force to its core. On the realm of Mortis, the Force wielders known as the father and daughter were worried by the recent activity of the son. The dark side user had been delighted by his recent visions of the Force, and they realised that the prophecy that the galaxy had talked about for generations had merely been a myth, as the human that was supposed to be born was not on their radar, and at this rate, the dark side would take over, so they had to find a way to stop him. The father took the dagger of Mortis from the altar, and the son was immediately suspicious of their plan, and tried to take the dagger away from the father, but the daughter intervened as they battled in a duel of the Force. The father could not see an end to this violence, and in a move that shocked the children, he impaled himself with the dagger, eliminating the immortality from the son and daughter. The shockwave this caused in the Force was felt on the planet of Coruscant by the Jedi. Grandmaster Yoda had been meditating in his quarters when he jumped from his cushion and leapt backwards onto the window adorning his wall. Mace Windu is the first to rush to the aid of the Grand Master, and having both sensed a shift in the Force, they gathered the other council members for a meeting. Jedi Master Dooku and the Wookiee Tyvoka believed that the shock felt through the Force was a sign that the Sith were making a return, after almost a 1,000-year absence since the dissolution of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Windu is skeptical that the Sith would have returned without the detection of the Jedi, so Yoda decides that he should personally go to investigate the calling of the Force. Taking his personally modified starfighter out of its place in the temple's hangar, he swooped out of the comfort and stillness of the galactic city and accessed the airspace over the planet. The hexagonal wingtips folded inwards as he guided the ship into the hyperdrive docking ring, and Yoda directed the craft into world space, where the calling from the Force had become louder and louder. Out of nowhere, an octahedral monolith appeared in front of him, and he found himself being slowly drawn in by the gravitational force. The Grand Master is blinded by the brightest of lights, then later found himself perfectly on the grass floor, and the picturesque surroundings of Mortis. The floating form of the daughter hurried to the Jedi, and the legends he had heard in the temple about the realm were dwarfed by the reality, as she asked him to hurry to the top of one of the mountains to test if he was the Chosen One, seeking to prove that the son's visions had been flawed. To their horror, the dark side user was already waiting for them, having come up with a backup plan to possess the current Dark Lord of the Sith Darth Tenebrous. Whilst the children began to argue amongst themselves, Tenebrous charged at Yoda, fueled by the dark side and the sun, but he proved to be no match for Yoda, who used his agility to powerfully cut through his defences. As Yoda was about to listen to the last words of the Sith, the sun cackled with the false image he had cast to attack the Jedi, and Yoda realised that this meant the Sith was still in hiding, and ready to rise. The son fled the arena, whilst the daughter remarked that even though Yoda was not the Chosen One, he still held a big role in the galaxy, and ordered him to leave to destroy the dark side. The Grand Master ran back to his ship, and later waking up to hover in wild space, he felt like he had just been exposed to strong sensations in the Force, and returned to the temple. Placed under the attention of the Jedi healers, Yoda is strapped to a deprivation tank, bringing him closer to death and becoming one with the Force. The Grand Master could see visions and voices of Sith past and present, some of whom were not in the Jedi archives or holocrons, before remembering the face of his attacker on Mortis. Yoda is placed to rest on a nearby bed, and he knew that the Jedi needed to be careful, or they could fall by the sword of the Sith. That is it for part 1 of What If Anakin Skywalker Never Existed. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.